Well, week 5, college football fans. Hello out there. My name's Harry James. First of all, congratulations to Chip Kelly and UCLA getting their first win over our old buddy. Last night, actually, over our old buddy, Mike Leach in Washington State, as they did that. Remember, they had that hard non-conference with us and Cincinnati earlier. Well, it all paid off last night in a huge fourth quarter comeback. 50 points in the second half for UCLA. Now they will try to bounce back and get their second win. It will have to come against Arizona, Pac-12 After Dark. Preview that one. Plus, tell you what's going to happen in the Big 12 Conference. All that and more college football picks all next. Right here, Boomer Senior 1982. Don't go away. Well, you've made it through 5 weeks of college football, everybody. And most importantly for OU fans, like me, you've made it through at least one of their 2 bye weeks. So, we'll start in the Big 12. And the good thing about the Sooners having a bye week and kicking off at 11 is you don't have to wait the whole extra day for another kickoff. You know why? Because they're going to get started right away at 11 o'clock in the morning. That game will be also, by the way, on national television, on national Fox, as the Red Raiders of Texas Tech will be in Norman to face the Sooners of Oklahoma. As you guys know, I don't pick this game because I don't want to sound like a homer. But there is that game going on. Also at 11 o'clock, you can catch TCU as they'll try to bounce back after losing that gut-wrenching game to in-state and in-city rival SMU as they host the Kansas Jayhawks. Kansas at TCU, Fox Sports 1 at 11 o'clock also. Take a little break, then do some tailgating. Because at 2:30, this is probably the game to watch in the Big 12. Iowa State and Baylor will be on ESPN at 2:30. I'm taking Baylor just in the fact that it's played in Waco Waco. If it was played in Ames, I might feel a little differently, but since it's played in Waco, I'm taking the Bears. All right? We've got one more game to talk about that's at least happening. Not to include the bye weeks, the bye teams. So the game that we do have, ESPN Plus. That's the new one that you have to pay I think it's $5 a month for or whatever. But if you pay it, at least in Big 12 country, Saturday, you'll be able to see Kansas State at Okie State. Now remember, you do have to watch this one on the laptop, on the TV, on the ESPN Plus. It's not going to be available anywhere else unless you go find it on YouTube. But in this one, I'm going to take the Aggies. They left a lot of points on the board, but Kansas State isn't as offensively productive as Texas. Plus, it's a home game for the Cowboys, so I'm taking Oklahoma State, but look for this one to be a little closer than the experts think. Okie State by field goal. Now to the 2 byes this week. And boy, does Texas deserve it. They played their hearts out in that game last night for 40 minutes and beat the Cowboys. So they'll get their bye. The other bye will go to West Virginia. Those 2 teams, by the way, will play next week in Morgantown for that ball game. But this week, they both have the byes. All right, there's that. For that. National games. Thursday night. So after you go to church on Wednesday, you get home, you rest up, and then Thursday night football, 7 o'clock. What about this? Navy at Memphis. That game will be on ESPN. The only game on. I'm taking the TIGGers in this one. Memphis and the Tigers. Normally I would take like Navy or the option team, but I just think that Memphis is just so used to playing Navy and Army and those teams in the military branches that it's just going to be a little easier for them because they do play it every single year with Navy. So there's that. Then you skip to Friday night. Prime time, baby. Duke at Virginia Tech. That game will be on ESPN at 6 o'clock. I'm taking the Hokies just in the fact that it's going to be played in Blacksburg and Virginia Tech. So look for that one to be good. Take a little break, take a little breather for you guys that get off a little later. You still have 2 college football games to watch. You can watch at 7 o'clock Penn State at Maryland. That game will be on Fox Sports 1. I'm taking the Terrapins and the Fighting Van Pelt, Scott Van Pelt. Just in the fact, again, that it's a home game. Speaking of home games, Colorado Springs and the Air Force Academy, San Jose State at Air Force, CBS Sports Network. I'm taking the Falcons of Air Force just in the fact that it's in Colorado Springs. And there's one game Pac-12 at night. There's one game Pac-12 at night Friday night, 9:30, Arizona State at Cal Berkeley, ESPN. I'm taking Cal. Good win for them last week. Look for them to keep going there. That'll do it for Friday. Then what do? You crack some eggs and you get ready to crack some heads on Saturday morning. College game day will be in, I believe, let me check. I believe they're going to be in Nebraska, in Lincoln, for that huge contest between Nebraska and beat Ohio State University. So that'll be on from about 8 to 11 Central Time. Then at 11 Central Time, you will get to see, speaking of Big Ten teams, what about this one? Northwestern at Wisconsin and the Badgers. Good, solid win for them over Michigan. Now they go into conference play and play Northwestern. I'm taking Wisconsin here at the 11 a.m. game on ABC, by the way, is that one. If you're looking for a game a little bit more centrifugally located, that's okay. What about a neutral site game? You don't get very many of these played every year. They do now, though. What about my home away from home, baby? The home of my beloved Dallas Cowboys and the Big 12 Championship, which the Sooners will hopefully be at. But first, they've got to host this one. A&M at Arkansas. That game will be on ESPN. And I'm going with Pig Suey. Look for them to get this thing done. A&M, I don't really know. They're a little bit here, they're a little bit there. Arkansas themselves, a little bit more consistent for my case. That game will be on ESPN. ESPN The Deuce. Middle Tennessee at Iowa for their big softy. Taking Iowa. Big Ten game on the Big Ten Network between Rutgers and Michigan. I'm taking Michigan to get this thing fixed. They had a hard time against Army. They did find a way to do it. They ran into a buzzsaw last week at Wisconsin. But you know what? Wisconsin and Army, that's not Rutgers. Rutgers is Rutgers. So I think they're going to get this one. Sticking with the Michigan theme, CBS Sports Network will have Central Michigan at Western Michigan. That one game will be on CBS Sports Network. I'm going with Western Michigan in this one. The new ESPN Plus that we were talking about will not only have the Oklahoma State-Kansas State game, it will also have BYU at Toledo. That game will be at 11 a.m. Also, I'm taking Toledo in that one. ESPN The U, they will have Buffalo, the University of Buffalo, at Miami of Ohio. I think Miami of Ohio bounces back. SEC Network, Vanderbilt will host Northern Illinois. Northern Illinois at Vandy on the SEC Network. Well, I'll say this. SEC, they are actually pretty good. They have good, solid talent there. I think that, and you know what? With that talent, I think Vanderbilt's going to take care of business, and they're going to take care of business pretty quickly. ACC Network, speaking of talent, Syracuse. A lot of D1 talent there at Syracuse. A little bit more than Holy Cross. So I'm going to take Syracuse over Holy Cross. All those games, or that game particularly, is on the ACC Network. All those games kick off at 11 a.m. Take a little break at 11, and then at 11:30, the Pittsburgh Panthers. They're going to try to keep the winning streak alive, baby. They just beat our old buddy Josh Heupel in Central Florida. Now they're going to host Delaware. Delaware at Pittsburgh. The ACC network on the extra ACC network on the laptop. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh in this one. Just in the fact that it's a home game. I don't really have another reason for that. 2 o'clock, Pac-12 network will have Stanford at Oregon State. I'm taking the Beavers, man. The Beavers. Got to take this one on Pac-12 network at 2 o'clock. The 2:30 middle meat of the sandwich. Clemson at North Carolina. That game will be on ABC. Our old buddy Mac Brown doing a really good job there at North Carolina to turn this thing around. But you know what? It's Clemson, dude. Sorry, Mac. Taking Clemson. Also, speaking of teams that are just on a different level, Alabama will be in a home game against Ole Miss. Ole Miss at Alabama. That game will be on CBS Sports Network. I'm taking the Tide, baby. Give me the Tide. Give me Hertz's old buddies in the Crimson Tide, Alabama. NBC, Virginia at Notre Dame. Notre Dame looking for a bounce back after losing to Georgia. And it'll be a good start against Virginia. And I think they're going to get it. Big home game for them. The Fox National game. USC at Washington on Fox National right after our game between Tech and Oklahoma. And Norman, I'm taking Washington to take care of the Trojans of USC. Husky Power. CBS Sports Network will have Georgia Tech at Temple. I'm taking Temple. The new ACC network will have Wake Forest at BC. BC, that's Boston College. I'm taking Boston College on this one. After that one, FAU, that's for Atlantic at Charlotte. That game will be on the NFL Network. I'm taking FAU. Minnesota, don't you know what? At Purdue, ESPN The Deuce. I'm taking Purdue. They're going to bounce back pretty quickly here. Coastal Carolina at Appalachian State. That's on that new ESPN Plus set that we were talking about. And you know what? I'm going to take App State. The new Flow Sports Network will have Akron at University of Massachusetts. I'm taking UMass on that one. And finally, the new Big Ten Network will have Indiana at Michigan State. I'm taking Sparty. Spartacus. Sparty High, baby. With Mark D'Antoni. And that one. 3 p.m. 2 games. SEC Network. Townsend in Florida. Do we really have to get into this one? Really? Gator chopping? And SMU at South Florida on ESPNU. Undefeated SMU. Playing really well, SMU. And you know what? They're going to get this thing done, SMU. On the road. Against the Bulls of South Florida. Give me SMU and the Ponies. 4 o'clock. Cincinnati at Marshall. CBS Sports Network and through Facebook I'm taking Marshall. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. All these games will be on the new ESPN Plus station, including New Mexico and the Lobos at Liberty. I'm going to take Liberty. Arkansas State at Troy. I'm taking Arkansas State in this one. Let's see. Louisiana Lafayette at Georgia Southern. I'm taking Louisiana Lafayette. And East Carolina at Old Dominion. Home game for ODU. And you know what? I think they're going to get this thing done. I don't know what it is about ODU, but I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. So give me ODU. All those games, by the way, as we said, on the new ESPN Plus. You got to sign up for it. Couple of games you don't have to sign up for. Mississippi State at Auburn. That game will be on the ESPN network. I'm taking Auburn. What about our old buddy Josh Heupel trying to bounce back, playing UConn, and that will be a home game at Central Florida. That game will be on ESPN The Deuce. I'm taking the Fighting Josh Heupels and the Knights of Central Florida. 2 more ESPN Plus games. Alabama Birmingham at Western Kentucky. I'm taking the Blazers of UAB. And South Alabama at Louisiana Monroe. I'm taking Louisiana Monroe. Both of those games, as we talked about on the new ESPN Plus network. The new ESPN, the old-fashioned ESPN3 regular online will have Nicholls State at Texas State. I'm taking Texas State. They will also have Louisiana Tech at Rice. I'm taking Louisiana Tech. Both games, as we talked about, ESPN3. And on Fox Sports 1, Washington State at Utah. You know what? I think our buddy Mike Leach is going to bounce back. Utah crumbling a little bit. Washington State maybe hurting a little bit. Washington State, they take advantage in that one. 6 o'clock, as we already talked about, game day will be there. It will be The Ohio State University and Nebraska. That game will be on ABC. I want to see the Huskers do this for my dad. But the Nuts are playing really well. So what? So you know what? Give me Nebraska. Just by this much. Give me Nebraska. I might regret that later. SEC Network, Kentucky at South Carolina. That game will be on SEC Network. I'm going with South Carolina. ACC Network, North Carolina State tries to bounce back after last week's loss to West Virginia as they go on the road at Florida State, and I'm taking the Seminoles. And CBS Sports Network, Colorado State at Utah State. I'm taking Utah State. All of those games, that game's on CBS Sports Network. All those games start at 6:30 p.m. The 7 o'clock time slot belongs to UNLV at Wyoming. That game will be on ESPNU. I'm going with Wyoming. Fresno State at New Mexico State. I'm taking Fresno State. That game will be on the Flow Sports Network. And speaking of the Fighting Bob Stoopses and Mike Leaches and everybody like that, what about our buddy Seth Luttrell in North Texas? Houston at UNT. That game will be on the CBS Sports Network on through Facebook. I'm taking UNT, but look for Houston to kind of keep this thing kind of close. They have had a difficult non-conference with us and Wazoo. So look for Houston to keep this thing close, but North Texas gets it done. The primetime Big 12, Pac-12 after dark. UCLA at Arizona, ESPN. Arizona bounced back last week in the fourth quarter, but you know what? There's a big difference between Washington State and Arizona. So look for Arizona to get this thing done in the sun. 9:30 p.m. Also, Hawaii at Nevada, ESPN The Deuce. Give me the Fighting Rainbows of Hawaii. Alright guys, that will do it for the picks for this week. Remember, don't take any of these picks to Vegas, but you know what? If you want to, I'll take some of the dough, please. Alright? My name is Harry James. You can follow this and all my videos on YouTube, BoomerSooner1982. Also on Facebook through Harry James Taylor. And on my Twitter, @HypeManHarry. Alright guys, thanks for watching and enjoy week 5 of college football. Deuces. I'm out of here. Peace.